Hello again and welcome back to Broforce. Today we will be taking a look at the Freedom patch melee updates. As you can see, we're going to start with Snake, and he baseball bats his gun. It's pretty simple. Walks up and just punches somebody with his gun. Overall, his throw and everything seems to be pretty much standard. And it's not exactly the most powerful thing. I mean, it's not weak, but it's not that fast and not that powerful. So do be careful. Also, as you notice, bodies thrown with this are also thrown. So you could end up in a situation where you accidentally knock someone to the side, and you think you killed 2 or 3 people, but actually you just killed one and knocked 3 of them out. And then they get up and punch or shoot you. So do be careful about that. It's pretty strong, as you can see, although not very. Hello again and welcome back to Broforce. Today we will be taking a look at the Freedom Melee patch. Freedom, the 4th of July 2015 patch, introduced Broheart and the Broketeer, but also introduced a bunch of new melee attacks for old and new bros alike. Now, the Broketeer was not actually affected so much by this patch, but this gives me a chance to kind of show off his melee abilities and to show off the map, so I will do so. So, one of the best things about the Broketeer's melee attack is it disables bombers. Just straight up, you stab them, they're gone. It does not trophy anyone except for suicide mooks and normal mooks, awkwardly enough. And as you can see, it is his, or it has been visually replaced with his fist blade, or wrist blade, actually. Although it might have been that way to begin with. Honestly, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes. Since, as you can see, it looks just like the Bro Dagger, although you can kind of see now how it is actually his wrist. Making a trophy scares people. But as you can see, the trophy... Oh, apparently it also works against the Grenadiers. Actually did not expect that. He has a pretty fast attack, so it is reliable against dogs. A lot of them actually aren't. And now there's this new mook. I don't know when this mook was added. I'll be honest, I don't frequent Map Editor a lot. So this guy could have been here for a while. But I've never seen him in any of the custom maps I've done or any of the missions I've done. So, this mook, in case you've never seen him, has a rocket pack. Do note that since he is immobile and just going straight up, that makes it a rocket, not a jet. I mean, it's all pretty much rocket science, but we'll just go into it. So, when you kill this guy, he rockets off in a random direction, hits something, and explodes. Now, you see this box right down there with the pigs in it, like right below me here? That's going to be at the top left of me when I restart this real quick. Just take a moment to look into that box. I just kind of want to show you something kind of funny.
3, 2, 1.
As you can see, that was a bunch of pigs killing a giant alien by bouncing on it. I don't know, I just thought that was funny. So, let's go ahead and move on to the next bro. As you can see, this is the Boondock Bros, and they pistol whip somebody. So they take their pistol from their offhand and just punch you in the face with it. Now, one thing that is really nice about this is since there are 2 of them, you actually have a higher range of attack than you do with most other melee attacks. Also, you're getting double damage off, which is always nice. It does cause bodily harm, so when used against grenadiers, it will cause their grenades to drop. And I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next bro, so I'll see you in a minute. So now we are going to be going over Rambro. This is going to be short and quick. He still uses the basic knife. So while he is not bad in any way, shape, or form, he's exactly the same as he was a minute ago. Hello again, and, well, you don't see any time difference. I'm going to need to stop doing that. So now we're going to look at Ash Williams. As you can see, he punches with his chainsaw, again. So, he has a jump punch and a gut punch. Do note against some enemies, the animation for chainsawing their guts isn't quite there, so they kind of just disappear and then explode. This attack both causes fear and a ton of damage. And when he jumps, he just kind of comes down and lands on his chainsaw. As you could see there, this attack is extremely powerful against shielded units because not only does it knock them away by being a melee attack, it's also terrifying. So other ones will also drop. Since it destroys the body, it does drop grenades. And it does give you slight protection against explosions when you are in the middle of melee attacking whoever explodes. Do be careful, that doesn't mean you're invulnerable, it just kind of gives you a slight bit of protection. Now we'll be taking a look at Colonel Brodok, who does a roundhouse kick. Plain and simply, you kick somebody. There is a standing kick and a moving kick, and the jump kick. Do note the jump kick roundhouse and the moving roundhouse, effectively the same thing. And pretty much anybody who's hit by it is affected. So unlike some where if it hits multiple people, only one person dies and like 2 or 3 other people get thrown, this is pretty good at doing what it does. Hello again, welcome back. Yeah, as you can see, sorry about that. Had a really bad cough coming in. So the Bromando uses standard issue knife. No big deal, and he is virtually the same as he was last week. Now, here's kind of one of the complicated ones. You see, you can look at this guy with his melee attack and see him pull a knife out of his belt, cut with it. So I'm assuming that it's supposed to be the knife. Also, the animation and sound are that of the knife melee attacks. But other than that, I mean, he's exactly the same as he was when I did my bro view yesterday, so no real big need for an update. And now we actually have someone interesting. So, McBrover, with his Freedom Punch, seems pretty normal. You just kind of punch somebody in the face. But what makes McBrover interesting is his throw. He now attaches a stick of dynamite when he throws someone. Now, his punch is, I mean, it's a bro punch. It's pretty strong, but it does take some time against bigger guys. However, against groups, you're going to want to use the throw. His punch doesn't hit point blank. And unlike some, he won't automatically throw unless you do pick a movement direction. Occasionally you'll throw someone if you're standing on them, but very rarely. Due to the fact that his throw is explosive, it does destroy the body. But his punch by itself, even without the stick of dynamite, is still pretty strong. Anyway. Just wanted to show you a different way to kill those guys off. And time for the next bro. So, for the next guy, this guy's going to be kind of an umbrella character. The Expendabros, there are 6 of them, I think? 5 or 6, something like that. All have the same basic knife as before. They are unchanged. However, this guy you can kind of show. This is a melee update. I don't know when it happened. It might have happened before this patch. It might have happened after. I just honestly don't remember when this came through because I never would have tried it. But you can now throw your grenades. Well, of course you can throw grenades, but using your melee attack you can throw them again. Of course, like, there's no reason you would normally have tried this, because when I started, this wasn't a thing. So, yeah. But hey, it's kind of fun. And next up, we have Time Bro. Time Bro uses Roundhouse Kick. That's not how I wanted that to go. Eh, it doesn't really matter, though. So, he has his running Roundhouse Kick and the standing Roundhouse Kick. The standing Roundhouse Kick's kind of hard to do because you'll more often than not just throw. The Roundhouse Kick has one major problem. I'm going to kind of use his ability to alleviate it. But when used against bigger enemies, such as large mooks, the moving Roundhouse Kick has a tendency of throwing you to the other side of them, which could end up getting you killed. And as I just stated, I don't even know what that is. Just gotta kind of get away from it. As I stated, you can throw back grenades, so you can even throw enemy grenades. However, a black hole sometimes appears, maybe? I do not know what caused that. I have never seen that before. I'm actually just gonna kick through this real quick, so I'll be back in a second. Oh, that was a little odd. Well, next up we have Brohard. Brohard pistol whips. Pretty self-explanatory. Jumping doesn't do anything, crouching doesn't do anything, and running doesn't really do anything. It doesn't really have a big bouncing effect, so be careful if you're going to use it against bigger people. However, if used on a shield guy, it instantly takes him out. Pretty nice. Let's go ahead and go to the next guy.
You can do it.
Well, now we have Indiana Brones. Indiana Brones has always had a separate melee attack, so there's no difference here. His pickaxe still works as a pickaxe, and if you punch somebody in the face with it, well, you've played Minecraft, right? Yeah, Minecraft happens. Do be careful since his pickaxe doesn't always knock shields away. However, his whip does, so. Oh, that's a little bit of an inconvenience. It's gonna make me actually go up this thing. Yeah, so, all in all, Indiana Brones, exactly the same as he was before this patch. Next up, we have the Bride. Interestingly enough, her melee attack, well, I mean, she got melee pretty well covered. But her new melee attack, she throws knives. It's fun. I'm just gonna let that guy blow up. I'm not gonna deal with him. All in all, she throws knives. As you can see, the same glitch appears as a lot of the disemboweling deaths. The people disappear and then reappear dead. Against Big Mooks, you can actually see her knife gets stuck in his chest. It takes a couple to kill him, so it's not the most effective way of dealing with them. But it's not exactly a bad way either. Knives travel over dead bodies, so you don't have to worry about them bouncing. Well, you don't have to worry about them picking up a dead body. However, they do bounce on shields, so. Knives don't cause bodily harm, so against grenadiers, they're pretty good. That grenadier was killed by his own, or blew up by his own grenade, not me. So, the knife normally doesn't cause a grenade to spawn. But a knife does, however, take 2 hits to kill a Rocketeer. Next up, we have Brochette. Brochette, now it looks like he hugs you. But, as you can see, he pretty much just rips your guts out. As you can see, there's some major graphical issues with his attack. Against Big Mooks, though, instant. Just drop a bunch of them instantly. And since it's so terrifying to watch him massacre your homeboys, he does a pretty quick job against shielded enemies. He does cause major bodily harm, so Grenadiers will drop a grenade, but since he does kill just about everything instantly, not a lot of worrying you have to do. Next up, we have the Brominator. Brominator, like with many of the Arnold characters, his primary is a uppercut with a jumping down pound thing. really fun for the blood juggle. Just looks cool. Not so effective against big mooks, and going metal doesn't change it. As you can see, though, pretty much anybody that gets caught up in it gets dropped. And the jumping does kind of somewhat try to aim, as you can kind of see, but it does go after bodies, so hopefully that will get fixed. The uppercut causes major bodily harm, which will result in a grenadier dropping his grenade. And I'm not going to really be able to kill that dog, am I? There we go. I was a little scared there for a second. Now, since he does like this jumping double fist drop on somebody, I really need to learn what that thing's called. He can be a little tricky when it comes to flying units or people that are above you, so you might want to just kind of punch up, or punch and then jump into like a flying uppercut. Next up we have Ellen Ripbro. Ellen uses her standard issue bro knife, so she is the same as she was before the patch. And next up we have Broforce, who punches. Pretty standard simple, he doesn't really do anything special. It would have been nice if, like, when he threw people, like, he'd throw them with one hand and kind of just toast them or something, but as a puncher, not all that effective against big mooks. However, against normal enemies, punching's pretty good. If you're standing on them, you'll probably end up just throwing them. But you can punch through an entire line. Killing people with your punches works very similar to, or first person hit dies, others are thrown. It does not cause major bodily harm. So grenadiers do not drop, and rocket launchers are instantly killed. Does kill dogs, although it doesn't have quite the range you would expect on it. As I was saying, let's see if I can get that. Alright, that works, I guess. And let's go ahead and move on. Next up, we have Mr. Anderbro, who uses his knife and still has his charged melees. So he is the exact same as he was before. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because let's be honest, this is kind of badass. But he is exactly as he was before. Next up, we have Cherry. Well, Cherry. Let's just go with Cherry. Her melee attack is a front flip, cartwheel thingy. When she hits somebody, she jumps up in the air, and this is to be used in conjunction with her normal attack. She'll kick them, fly up, and it allows her to use her gun to shoot them. It's not really that strong of an attack on its own. However, when used in combination with either her auto attack or her special, it can have some pretty devastating effects. By itself, it does not cause major bodily harm. However, if you're going to shoot, you're going to do some damage. And it instantly kills just about everything short of a big move. And it's actually pretty convenient for movement. So, win-win. Especially for a character who is considered very lacking by most players. Hello again, and welcome back. Wait, no, you're still here. Ignore me. The next bro up is Robocop. I failed that. Robocop uses his USB whatever port to just stab people. The melee against odd move bug still works. They disappear, bleed out, and then appear dead. While this attack is pretty strong, it does take a little bit of time to get off. It's probably one of the slowest melee attacks, short of the Dread Taser. But the Dread Taser is kind of instant, but also long. Anyway, using it against big guys is not advised, although it does work, as you can see. Instantly kills just about anybody from behind, and as you can see, against shields, it's not the best, but it does work with varying degrees of success. Sometimes it instantly kills them, sometimes it barely does it. It doesn't do major bodily harm to the Grenadiers, so they don't drop, and it will kill just about everything else in one shot. Next up, we have Bronin the Barbarian, another Arnold character. As an Arnold character, he has an uppercut primary. Whether you're standing still or you get a little bit of a charge with it. However, instead of coming down with both fists, he comes down with his sword. Same basic effect, slightly different animation. Just gonna let that guy explode. So, as you can see, throw people up, pretty effective, even in groups, and you come down on them. Do be careful when you're uppercutting explosive people. They have a tendency of blowing up when they land on you. With practice, you can get over this, but I've been avoiding it, as you've probably seen on this map, because there isn't a lot of room to just kind of instant jump to the side. So, but with practice, you'll be able to get over that, but here it's just a little easier to avoid it. Although you would think that his sword would cause a little more damage than his fist, it doesn't really. However, he does have this nice little combo against some enemies where you throw them in the air and then you come down on them with the sword. But at the same time, you've also seen that with the uppercut and then coming down with the fist, so. Against shielded enemies, same as before. You pretty much just either punch the shield out of them or come down on them and kill them instantly. And there is a slight homing, it seems. But it also does home into dead bodies, so do be careful about that. The uppercut does cause major bodily harm. Which will cause grenades to happen. And it's pretty much just good. I mean, it's kind of hard to say, because I'm like, hey, yeah, look at this third character with an uppercut. But at the same time, it is slightly different with that sword, although it is mostly just thematic. Next up, we have the Bro in Black. The Bro in Black uses the standard issue knife that, well, he always used. So nothing too special about that. Let's go ahead and move on. Next up, we have the Broforce Soldier. The Broforce Soldier uses the basic bro kick However, there is a slight problem I've noticed when you're picking people up, that a lot of times, let's see if we can get them dead and then kick them another time. I can't kick. Oh yeah, they're my team now. Well, I guess I can't. I'm not able to replicate it now. I've had a weird problem a lot of times since this patch with the Broforce soldier, where he's reviving people, but they're still laying down dead. That even includes other bros. Like, they still function normally, but they're just laying down. So it's graphical completely. As a roundhouse character, pretty good kicking power. Do be careful. You might end up in a situation where you accidentally jump in front of a large mook's gun, and getting shot, never a good thing. Like, I mean, I guess unless getting shot helps a doctor find a brain tumor or something that you never would have noticed. But, like, that's a very rare incident. Normal stuff, the kick doesn't cause major bodily harm, kills just about everything in one hit, and just looks awesome. Also note, you kind of saw me revive him after killing him for a second there. I meant to say that I was going to do that, but I kind of forgot. If you revive the jet mutes after killing them, they are dead after you hit them, but they don't explode for a couple of seconds. So very similar to the suicide mooks, if you revive them afterwards, they'll come back to your side, and their explosion usually won't kill you. Be careful, because it sometimes will, because it sometimes doesn't quite register that it's a friendly explosion. But anyway, but it can help you kind of guide where it is, or just kind of give yourself, oh shit, I don't know if I'm going to survive this. I'm not good enough to, or I'm not confident enough to know that I can revive myself. And especially because an explosion, you sometimes don't have a body. So you revive the guy, he explodes on you, and sometimes you live. Moving on. Next up we have Braid. Braid, very similar to the Brode, or the Bride, throws a knife. His knife does also get stuck in bigger mooks. And overall, he's just a little bit faster with his knife than the Bride, although his knives do seem to do slightly less damage. So that could just be what is it, the Coriolis effect, when you know something and it turns out to be different, whatever. It could just be that I'm not paying enough attention to know, but it does seem to be slightly weaker. It does still kill Rocketeers in 2 shots, though, but it seems to take 1 or 2 more on bigger moves. But as you can see, it is a lot faster, so that could just be balancing. Quick enough, they're pretty simple. And I'll see y'all with the next guy. Okay, the next guy up, he's gonna be exactly the same as he was in his Bro view, because this guy just came out a few days ago. But, as stated in Bro view, you can kind of see, kind of like the Rocketeer, you can see the action of him pulling the knife out of his side and then cutting with it. But I don't know if it's graphically just a bug or what. So he does throw. His throw is kind of slow, but his knife attack is really fast. Since I'm assuming that's a knife attack because of the way it sounds and whatnot, I'm gonna kind of ignore that. I also must apologize if any of these are out of order. I'm recording them all in bulk, but like in separate videos, so that if I have to make corrections or whatnot, I can go back through and do so. But yeah, I do apologize if there are any inconsistencies, and I think that might have just created a problem. Okay, so as we go through, his sword, pretty strong, can kill a bunch of people in a line, same as his knife, and in some areas you can get some pretty nice cool stuff where you're throwing your sword, punching somebody, pick up your sword, like so. However, let's see. There is a problem with the Grenadier. I'll come back to this guy next. Okay, so your sword pretty much does kill just about everything in a single go. You'll notice I actually just kind of reloaded this video and kind of stitched it together because the first time I did it, I might have accidentally blown up the thing, and there were a bunch of aliens coming through here. That kind of ruined this half of the video. Do be careful with the explosive mooks. They can become a problem when you cut off their head and you don't pay attention to where the body is. Anyway, as I was going to say, there is a small bug right now with the Grenadier mooks where they eat your sword. So, do be careful about using your throw against them. So, now we're going to continue. Hello again. Next up, we got Bromax. There's nothing real special about him. Just has the average punch. His throw doesn't really do anything, which is a little bit disappointing, but you can't really ask for too much. But overall, he's still the same basic character. I hate to say it, but this video, like most of these attacks, like you get some of them that are really interesting. You have Brochetti, who's capable of now killing like most things that aren't bosses. But other than that, the majority of the characters are thematically different, but virtually the same. And he explodes. Moving on. Next up is Double Bro 7. He has a punch. It's pretty simple. His punch is kind of like on the short end. Like it's a little bit shorter than what you'd expect, but as you can see, it's not too short. It seems to have about the same range as his gun model, although the animation for it definitely doesn't follow suit. You can punch standing still or do a sliding punch as you move, but jumping or anything like that doesn't really change it much. If somebody is between you and your gun, you will most likely just throw them instead of punching them. And another black hole. So as you can see, the black hole doesn't really cause too much damage or anything like that. It's just more of an annoyance, really. I'm gonna get rid of this guy real quick. Now let's see if I can get this one out of the way. Nope, I'm just gonna keep walking. I'm gonna pretend it doesn't exist. So, against most things, just plain and simple, just let my frame rate recover a little bit from that explosion. And that causes a massive frame dip. Like with the punches, you can hit multiple targets. However, you'll usually, very most likely, what is that even? You'll usually only kill one person and then throw the rest. So do be careful with them. And just plain and simple, you're like with James Bond, you have silent shots, so you're better off shooting people in almost every situation. And your shot pretty much has the disembowel effect. So you don't really have to worry about accidentally hitting dead bodies or anything like that. Like, his gun's basically a melee attack. Anyway, moving on. And finally, we have Rodell Walker. Rodell Walker, just like all the other Chuck Norris characters, he does a roundhouse kick. I mean, it's nice. It's basically the same as the other bro kicks. However, he only goes in one direction when he's standing still, and he roundhouses when he jumps, instead of doing like a split kick when he jumps. Of course, no bodily harm, instantly kills a Rocketeer, instantly kills just about everything. And there we go. I do apologize if this isn't the last person in the video. This is the last person I'm recording, but things might get kind of messed up in order. But anyway, I hope this was informative. I hope this was enjoyable, and have fun, bro.